Hi dear friends and subscribers, welcome to the Cricket Happening Show with your host Ram. This Cricket Happening Show, well, as you know, today was the 7th match. As I said, it was the Trans-Tasman clash today between Australia and New Zealand. One was really looking forward to it, but unfortunately for the first time in the ICC Champions Trophy, a match had to be abandoned due to rain. In the sense, it was the match was played, but it didn't go the whole hog. Australia made 243 for 8 of their 50 overs batting first, and New Zealand replied with 51 for 2 after 15 overs. And after that, rain was relentless, and umpires had to decide that they had to actually call off the match. So thus the points were shared by Australia and New Zealand. So Australia have 1 point at least now. As far as New Zealand are concerned, they have gone on to 3 points in their group, which is Group A. So this was the 7th match which was played at Edgbaston today, and the toss was won by Australia, and Australia decided to bat first. As far as Australia, as you know, Australia have been struggling, and today, with the news of David Warner not taking and not being in the team, the reason being that he had an altercation with Joe Root of England in a Birmingham bar, which was pretty unfortunate. He was left out of the side, and it was Matthew Wade, the wicketkeeper, who opened with Shane Watson. Well, before I start off, I would like to tell here that this particular pitch was completely, it was a very slow pitch. It was not easy to bat on, and the spinners really ruled the roost, as I would be talking about. In fact, New Zealand bowled the maximum number, I mean, this is a record for New Zealand, because out of 50 overs, 30 overs were bowled by the spinners, between Nathan McCullum, Daniel Vettori and Kane Williamson, but they did a wonderful job, which I'll talk about. And as the match started with Shane Watson and Matthew Wade opening the innings, and New Zealand tasted early success, as first Watson was the first to go, caught behind the bowling, caught behind by Ronke of the bowling of Mitchell McClenaghan. As you know, Mitchell McClenaghan is such a bowler, who the left-arm bowler who normally provides the breakthroughs for New Zealand, which has become like a very like in customary fashion. He had Shane Watson caught behind for 5, so that made it 5 for 1. And after that, it was Matthew Wade joined by Phil Hughes, who came in 1 drop today. And Phil Hughes was out without scoring due to a brilliant run out by Guptill. Martin Guptill swooped on to the ball like what to say, I mean, he would have made John T. Rhodes proud the way he did it. Martin Guptill, we know he's a good fielder, but the way he actually swooped down to the ball, there was a misunderstanding between Matthew Wade and Hughes, yes, no, yes, and by the time it was all over, as Martin Guptill had swooped down to the ball, and he was skating towards the stumps, and he threw down the stumps, and Phil Hughes was caught off ground, and that was the 2nd wicket to go, as Australia were 10 for 2. As I said, New Zealand tasted early success here at 10 for 2, and after that, it was pretty slow going for the Australians. With basically they had to actually repair the early damage, and it was done by George Bailey, the Australian skipper, actually promoting himself in the batting order and coming in, and he was joined by he had Matthew Wade for company, and both of them then slowly started steadying things for Australia and pushed the score on to 74, but in a very at a snail's pace, one could say, and that was pretty understandable with the rate of scoring being low. As I said, the pitch was slow, and also what one had to be very careful, because ball was not coming onto the bat, and there was some brilliant captaincy by Brendan McCullum. Actually, he had, as you know, he's such a person. He's a very dynamic captain, and what he did is he actually made full use of the pitch, in the sense he knew that the ball was coming on slow onto the bat, so immediately he brought on his spinners, and Daniel Vettori, a splendid bowling analysis. He bowled out his overs in a splendid fashion. 10 overs, 1 maiden, none for 23 his bowling figures, and that was the stage at which Phil Hughes, Bailey and Wade were at the crease at that particular juncture. So the score went on to 74 at that stage. I mean, it was not easy. As I said, it can't be. It was not. Matthew Wade played some pleasing strokes for boundaries. George Bailey was good down the ground whenever he used to stroke the ball, and the score went on to 74. at that juncture, with the spinners being introduced, Nathan McCullum actually broke this partnership, which was slowly steadying things for Australia when Matthew Wade was adjudged LBW, bowled Nathan McCullum for 29 of 57 balls with 3 fours, which made the score 74 for 3. And then George Bailey, the skipper, got a very, very able partner in Adam Book. But as said, the spinners, as I said, the first Daniel Vittori was bowling well. Nathan McCullum took a wicket. That prompted Brendan McCullum to bring his part-time off spinner Kane Williamson. And what was interesting was Kane Williamson today bowled the whole hog. He was given the full quota of 10 overs. Even though he went for 56 runs, he picked up the wicket. And both of them, the spinners started bowling very well as the ball was turning, and they had to be careful. So Adam Woods decided that it's better to really stay at the crease and just wait for the loose ball to hit, and that's what he was precisely doing. Bailey at the other end was much more settled at the crease, and he was playing well, and everything was going well for Australia. It was a good opening partnership, almost in the same vein as what Matthew Wade and George Bailey added. This time, this partnership had already yielded 76 runs. The third wicket partnership between Wade and Bailey added 64 runs. This particular partnership added 76 useful runs. It was 77 runs actually. 77 runs partnership, and things were going, as I said, it was a matter of as I said, it was not easy to play the strokes as it was a very, very slow pitch, and under the circumstances things were looking under control. And the batting power play was still to come. That was the 34th over it was going on. It was very essential because Adam Boak suddenly had started opening up and he was playing some good strokes. He was settling down. He played a few pull shots. He played a good cut shot. He was driving well. It was good to see Adam Boaks give admirable company to George Bailey, which has always been lacking in this Australian side. The middle order has been pretty shaky, but today Adam Boaks was looking very much the real Adam Boaks that he is as he plays in the Australian domestic county scene, and he was playing pretty well there. After that, as I said, the power play was just to be taken in the 35th over, as you know, and in the 34th over last delivery, Bailey tried a shot where he exposed all his stumps to Nathan McCullum. This was the last ball of the over, the 35th over, before the power play could be taken. It was very essential for Bailey and Boaks to be there. But what happened was Bailey had to go, as Bailey actually exposed all his stumps to Nathan McCullum and tried to flick him, missed it, and Nathan McCullum's ball hit the stumps, and Bailey was walking after making a very good 55 of 91 balls with 5 fours. But it was very essential that Bailey stayed for Australia to get a good score, but unfortunately that didn't happen. And when the power play started, it was Adam Boaks and Mitchell Marsh at the crease. Adam Boaks still decided that he's not really going to play lots of strokes. So the power play was going in a very, very sedate fashion, but Mitchell Marsh soon probably realized that he needs some runs, and he started hitting some boundaries. He actually cut a ball to the fence. He hit one ball which was very nicely played. It was I think it was Kane Williamson was bowling. He was absolutely up to the pitch of the ball and nicely drove it through the cover region for 4. It was very good to see. And this partnership went on till 1993. So again, there were some useful runs, some useful contribution coming in from both these batsmen, and the batting power play was over in the sense I thought they somewhat made it. I mean, somewhat they got some runs which could be not we couldn't say it's substantial, but yeah, it was some useful runs that they added. And then Mitchell McClenaghan was brought on to the attack after the power play, and he immediately struck by getting Boak's wickets. Actually, it was Mitchell Marsh who was first to go, as Mitchell McClenaghan on his second spell took 3 wickets. First, he dismissed Mitchell Marsh, who was caught behind by Ronchi, as he tried to actually pull a ball from McClenaghan, top edge the ball, and Ronchi took the catch very easily, and he was gone for 22 of 24 balls with 3 fours, which made the score 193 for 5 in the 42nd over. Adam Boaks, after making a very nice 71 of 76 balls with 7 fours, departed, as Adam Boaks was caught by Brendan McCullum off the bowling of McClenaghan for 71. In fact, McClenaghan was bowling very well. He was using good changes of pace in his bowling. so which made the score 196 for 6. Faulkner came in. Faulkner couldn't do much as Kane Williamson took his wicket as he was caught by McLennan in the deep of the bowling of Williamson for 6, and that left Johnson coming in, and Johnson also couldn't do much. Johnson was gone for 8. As I said, McLennan came in and picked up 3 wickets to add 4 wickets to his name, and this is only his 9th ODI, and he got a 4-wicket haul. What a bowler he is turning out to be, Mitchell McLennan. Actually, he had Mitchell Johnson caught by Brendan McCullum for 8, and that made the score 219 for 8. But the one good thing for Australia there was Glenn Maxwell was there, but Glenn Maxwell has not been some great form. So Glenn Maxwell was there, and Glenn Maxwell, what he did is towards the final stages, towards the death overs, he really flung his bat hard, and he got some pretty useful runs for Australia, which actually took the score on to a very respectable 243 for 8 of 50 overs, with Maxwell's contribution an unbeaten 29 of 22 deliveries, 1 4 and 2 6s, which was hit in consecutive fashion of the bowling of Kane Williamson. But after that, Mitchell McLennan, who was bowling the 50th over, kept Maxwell pretty quiet, probably conceding only 2 or 3 runs in that over. And what an over that was from Mitchell McLennan. At the death over, the 50th over, he bowled it so tightly with lots of variations in pace and change of delivery, and he bowled splendidly, I thought. As I said, Maxwell remained not out 29 of 22 balls, 1 4 and 2 6s. McKay was not out on 243 for 8 of their 50 overs was what the Australian score was. And as far as the bowling was concerned, Kyle Mills didn't bowl his full quota because Brendan McCullum today decided to use his spinners to good effect. As I said, this was the first time in a one-day international that New Zealand has bowled 30 overs of their spinners compared to 20 overs from the pacers. Kyle Mills 6 overs, 1 maiden, none for 19. McClanahan 10 overs, no maidens, 4 for 65, was a bit costly, but he took all those wickets. Vettori was splendid, none for 23. Tim Southee was off colour, 4 overs, 1 maiden, none for 26 today. McCullum 10 overs, no maiden, 2 for 46. Kane Williamson 10 overs, no maiden, 1 for 56. So that was the stage which was set for New Zealand to actually go for that target of 244. And similarly, like the way Australia started, New Zealand also, here Australia tasted early success. As first the wicket to go was Martin Guptill, the form man, who actually was caught by Maxwell very well off the bowling of McKay for 8 of 13 balls with 1 4. And McKay also dismissed Luke Ronchi as he was caught by Watson of the bowling of McKay for 14 of 17 balls with 2 4s, which made the score 26 for 2 for New Zealand. And then it was Kane Williamson and Ross Taylor at the crease. So Kane Williamson, well, he hit one good boundary, which was very pleasing to the eye. It was a good cover drive, and after that Ross Taylor had just come in and he was just giving company to Kane Williamson as the rains started pouring at Edgbaston, and that was it. After that there was no play possible. New Zealand ended at 51 for 2 of their 15 overs, with Kane Williamson not out on 18 of 37 balls with 1 4. Ross Taylor was not out on 9 of 23 balls with no boundaries. And the bowling figures for Australia: Clint McKay was the wicket taker, 4 overs, no maiden, 2 for 10. 4 overs, none for 18 for Mitchell Johnson. Shane Watson bowled 3 overs, 1 maiden, none for 11. He was absolutely on target there, and the slowness of the pitch was really helping the bowler like Shane Watson. Faulkner 3 overs for 7, and Xavier Doherty, we saw 1 over of spin, and we saw that Xavier Doherty actually turned the ball square. The very first ball that he bowled, he actually turned the ball absolutely square. It spun and bounced and went to the wicket keeper, and that was the time. That was the only over of spin that we could see from Australia as rains came down, and then there was no further play possible as the rain was relentless. Unfortunate. But one thing that I would like to briefly analyze this game, this match, as I said, the points were shared between Australia and New Zealand 1-1, but I thought Australia had a good chance here because they had 2 spinners, and this was a slowish pitch. The going was tough for New Zealand. The bowlers were bowling well. Xavier Doherty, we saw the ball turn. Xavier Doherty could have done, and Glenn Maxwell was not seen at all, and he's an off spinner, and so probably there's good variety for Australia there. I thought that was a good choice, and looking at the turn that the New Zealand spinners were getting, and that too during the later stage of the match, in the sense that at the end of the match, in the sense going towards the second innings, the team which is batting second, always, as you know, the pitch slows down and there will be a lot of grip, and if at all the match would have resumed, I thought it would have really favoured the Australians. The spinners on a drying pitch could have actually got New Zealand absolutely tied up, and that could add to the pressure, and New Zealand would have lost wickets. So I thought that Australia had the best chance here in this particular match, because 243 was a good score on this wicket, I thought. But unfortunately, the match didn't go the whole hog. But again, ifs are ifs and buts are buts. It could quite possible be that New Zealand would have played well and got. But as I said, it was a matter of great skill. It was not easy because the ball was not coming onto the bat. It was a slow pitch to bat on. The ball was gripping. The ball was turning. There was some bounce for the spinners too. And I would have thought that New Zealand would have found the life a bit difficult on this pitch. And it would have been a good game of cricket as it gone the whole hog. Because what would have happened, it would have been good competition between bat and ball. And we would have known what was the outcome, whether the bat won over the ball or the ball. If Australia would have won, I would say the ball won over the bat. If New Zealand would have won the match, it would have been the bat would have won over the ball. But unfortunately, everyone, all the dear fans, friends and subscribers, and all the fans here at the Edgbaston Cricket Ground were deprived of this very nice spectacle that one could have viewed at Edgbaston. Well, that's that. So tomorrow we have the next game coming up. I reckon it is between England and Sri Lanka. I have to just look at my schedule here to see what exactly is there. Well, I'm still trying to get on to see the schedule as to what is the next match which is coming up. In all probability, it should be, I think it should be the 8th match of the ICC Champions Trophy. I have a feeling it should be England versus Sri Lanka. I think yes, it's going to be England versus Sri Lanka tomorrow, and that would be a very wonderful game to watch. So until then, that's it from your host Ram for the time being, and until then, it's goodbye. Thank you.